Quilty is brought to you by
Baby Lock. Baby Lock sewing and long arm machines. From piecing to long arming for the love of sewing. Aurifil. Aurifil Italian thread. Perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Dear Stella. A unique fabric brand with modern style. Fairfield. Together, we can make beautiful things. Hovels Sewing. Cut to the point with Hovels Sewing. Moda. Make something quilty with Moda fabrics. Northcott. Cottons that feel like silk. Omnigrid. Providing quilters with specialty rulers and accessories for over 30 years.
Hi, this is Quilty. I am so glad you joined us. Today is a Blocks a Go-Go show, and we are going to talk about the Confetti block. The Confetti quilt is going to be featured in Quilty magazine, so be on the lookout for that. I don't know what issue yet. Sometimes these things get moved around, but that's okay. We are going to look at this block. It's very simple, and with a few little tweaks with the strips that go in between the patchwork units, by varying their measurement, you get a really cool effect. This was designed by the group at It's So Emma, and they are just really great at designing neat quilts that they just change a few things around and suddenly have a new cool design. So let's analyze it real quick. We have flying geese units turned to the side. Don't see those every day. And then we have strips in between. We have a narrowish strip and then two thicker, juicier, bacon-sized strips. I don't know. Okay, so bacon, I'm getting hungry. All right, so let's take a look at what we have. First, you're gonna need some of these 2.5-inch squares. And what you would want to do is draw a line from one side to the other. A graphite or ceramic pencil is really good for this. Graphite's actually not the best because it gets kind of smudgy. I would take a 1/4-inch seam marker, or because you're going to need your 1/2 and 1/4 ruler, you could just use that to mark down, straight down the center of your little square. And you'll mark up a lot of those, and look at your pattern because it'll tell you. You need a lot of those because that's how you're going to make your gray flying geese, gray in this case. And we've done this before on the show. You lay pretty sides down. Show that to the camera, pretty sides down. And then you stitch on that middle line. Stitch from one side to the other, starting in the center, okay? So I'm gonna do the second one, but you need to stitch one side down first, because if you try to take both of these to the sewing machine and zip down one and zip down the other, you're going to get a weird buckle at the top, so you don't want to do that. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine, and I've got one started, and I'm going to do the other side. So what you need to do first, once you have one done, you must press it back. You must press back your unit. And I would just finger press here. I think that's enough. You could press it with the iron, and you could also trim off this extra if you wanted to before you sew your other side. I don't know, I tend to finger press this back, lay my other unit on top, and then do my second stitch, and then I go to the iron and I press everything nice, okay? So I'm actually going to come at it from this side, and make sure you're sewing on the line. And if you sew just a little to the outside, just a scotch, it'll fold back a little bit better. Wouldn't it be great if I could talk to the camera while I was sewing? It doesn't work. I've tried it. It doesn't work. I have to focus on this. Sorry, guys. All right. And I'm going to raise this up and snip off my thread. I could have used the thread cutter. That's okay. And then this one gets folded back as well, and you have one of your flying goose units. So that's called the flippy corner method, and it's a great way to do these. Okay, now the next step is to do the other flying geese, and we're going to use a 2.5-inch strip and our 1/2 and 1/4 ruler, or the flying geese ruler. You lay that down on your 2.5-inch strip, and you get a 2 by 4-inch flying goose, okay? You use your ruler to cut. Might want to use a safety glove because it's kind of a tight space you're working in. We're not going to cut any of these, but I'm going to show you what they look like when they have been cut. And they look like so, okay? You use the other side of your ruler to get your side pieces for this little unit. And it's nice to read the directions whenever you get a special tool so you know how to use it. But you line up these two units like this, pretty sides together. The blunted end to the pointy end is good. I mean, the blunted end, matching the blunted end is good, and then the pointy end there. Sew your stitch, your 1/4 inch seam, fold it back just like we did, and then add your second. So what you get when you have all these units, you get these lovely flying goslings. They're little and they're cute. You need a number of these, you know, two-tone ones and then some scrappy ones, or using them from one fabric line is really great, as we did here with some Dear Stella. That's adorable. So you have flying goose units of various types, and you've cut your strips. So let's take a look at what these rows look like, because that's what you would do next, is you would join rows. And the way this goes is, the way the rows, they goes like this. So let's see, I'm going to get my, right in the center here. You've got to be mindful as you lay out your block, because these different widths go in different spots, specific spots, and then your flying geese turn different ways. So this one goes like this. You add another strip, and then these guys point in the opposite direction. Okay, so you make these blocks and then you sew your blocks together in rows, and then you have this really neat modern looking, I would say this is very modern quilt, and it's just really fun. And you can use jelly rolls for this, so that's great. Jelly roll project, pre-cut project, and you'll have a confetti quilt before you know it. And it's a party. Thanks for joining us on Quilty for the Quilty Party. Bye.
Quilty is brought to you by
Baby Lock. Baby Lock sewing and long arm machines, from piecing to long arming for the love of sewing. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Dear Stella, a unique fabric brand with modern style. Fairfield, together we can make beautiful things. Hovels Sewing, cut to the point with Hovels Sewing. Moda, make something quilty with Moda fabrics. Northcott, cottons that feel like silk. Omnigrid, providing quilters with specialty rulers and accessories for over 30 years.